Hi, YouTube fans. This is Matt of Post April 6th. Even though it's quite late at night, I'm hungry. And I'm going to make me a breakfast because that's the only thing I have the urge to eat is a couple of strips of bacon and some eggs. So let's see how the evening turns out. Or I should say the late night turns out. I've had so much on my mind, I'm all tangle-tongued. Getting my pronouns all mixed up. Well, it's a side effect of that brain injury and being born with Asperger autism. I was born with Asperger autism. So stay tuned, there's more. I'm still cooking. That's what it looks like now. Yeah. I'm about almost half done. So there's gonna be more. Those are the eggs. It has Colby and cheddar cheese mixed, shredded cheese. And it has eggs that were originally over easy, but then as I stirred them around with a spatula, and I added some red salsa. And I think this is going to taste pretty good. I've eaten eggs like this before. I think it's going to taste really good. But we'll see how it really tastes when I actually eat it. Might taste good, might taste bad. But I'm going to find out. Okay, I'm ready to eat the meal, but I shall say grace. Thank you, dear Lord, for this meal which I'm about to enjoy. Thank you, dear Lord, for being my Lord and Savior. Thank you, dear Lord, that millions and millions and millions of people, probably more like hundreds of millions, believe in you, and it's probably more like billions. I'm grateful, dear Lord, that I'm still alive and well, 13 years later, after surviving a nearly deadly incident. I pray, dear Lord, that the United States will be at peace, and there will not be a bunch of unrest. Amen. What do I press the pause button for? So here is more of a close-up of what it looks like. Wow. That sure turned out better than I thought it did. I'm actually blown away. There. Always got to get the air conditioner out of the way because it just showing up, it makes the video look like it really stinks. And it does. It's one of the ultimate pet peeves. That's one thing I don't like. And here's a nice napkin. Voila. Yeah. Well, eventually I'm going to be going to sleep after eating this. And I don't want to just do a video about you seeing me eat this and then that's the end of the vlog. No. I'm going to discuss a place that I'm seriously considering taking a trip to. Oh, goodness. And if I fully decide to do it, I'm not just going to do it in like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I'll probably do it sometime within the next 30 days. See this big tall glass? The very day I come back here from living in Huntington, West Virginia for over a year, for about 18 months, 18 and a half months. Within the first day, after I put my bags and the boxes of stuff that was shipped to me, that I shipped myself from West Virginia, Huntington, West Virginia. I went over to Walmart and I bought this. I mean, I did this immediately, right after I moved back, or right after I arrived here. I mean, within probably less than 15 minutes after I got physically inside this apartment. I left to first have lunch at Good Times drive-through, and then I walked to Walmart. It was actually quite sad about Good Times drive-through. Yes, there's quite a few of them still left, but the one that was on the 8900 block of East Hampton, gone. It's out of here. The whole store got shut down, and the way it's fenced around, nobody has said this, but I just personally have a hunch they're going to tear it down. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're not going to tear it down. Maybe they're just fencing it up so they don't get a bunch of looters and thieves getting into the house, because they got all the windows boarded up, so it's a lot harder to get into that building, which I think was a good idea, to board up the windows. And there's Isabella, taking a nice cat nap on my office chair. Ah, look at her. All right, moved around a little bit. And that's bacon. It's called Wright bacon. Getting close to being able to talk. Okay, earlier today when I was at at Walmart getting some good deals on some groceries, um, I was considering getting a little financial help I can get through HR Block. It's called an advance on the tax refund. And then I was thinking about do this, do that, pay for this, pay for that, get this, get that, and just all sorts of things. And then I thought, I've never been to Washington, D.C., and I'm thinking very seriously about taking out a loan so I can go out there and so I can do lots and lots of filming in Washington, D.C., because I like filming inside this apartment, but I think to the viewer it gets a little boring. I mean, sometimes it's great, but other times it's boring. It depends on what I'm talking about and other factors. So I'll have to think about it carefully before I decide to actually do it. And I'm going to have to really thoroughly research through more than just Priceline and either Verbo or TiVo. Yeah, I think it's Verbo or Expedia for vacation packages, because I'm not just going to fly out there and get the flight through one airline and then do the hotel stay through hotels.com. No, it's better to do a package deal, because if you do it right, you can really save a lot of money. And what I mean by right is 1, the time of day you leave, 2, the dates you leave, and 3, how long you're going to be there. Yeah. And 4, be very, look really carefully at the address to see what kind of things go on. Look at some reviews of the hotel or the motel or the hostel that you're going to stay at. I might do a hostel, but I'm so used to sleeping alone. I don't think I would like a hostel. I really don't. I'd have a hard time getting to sleep at first. Yeah. I'd want a private room because it's a I guess it would be called a trait or a way of being that I inherited from my mother. Because my mother, I would make sure to be really quiet. When I was in the living room, I make sure to walk around real quiet, and I make sure not to laugh. I make sure not to laugh too much, because otherwise she'd get up and she'd start yelling at me. Yeah. Anyways, let's see, what else should I discuss? Okay, after thinking about this for a few minutes, here's some trivia facts about former presidents of the United States. Who was the man? I'll tell you this much: he died just a little bit after 1905. Who was the man who was the sheriff of a certain county in a part of the East Coast, and then he later got elected president of the United States? It was Grover Cleveland. Yep. Who was a pallbearer for Humphrey Bogart after he died of esophageal cancer, also known as throat cancer, and then he later got elected president of the United States? It ain't Nixon, and it ain't George Bush. It's Ronald Reagan. Yep. Who was offered a job as a manager at a Montgomery Ward's? He would be managing the sports sporting goods section of Montgomery Ward's. And then he later got elected President of the United States. Ronald Reagan. Who was a manager, a department manager at a Sears, and this is in the 80s that this happened. And he later got elected President of the United States. George W. Bush, the 43rd President of the United States. Who went to the Democratic National Convention in a cheap car, and then he later got elected President of the United States? Barack Obama, in the year 2000. Yep. I think all he was a delegate, or he was one of the people that was, he got a ticket to be there. I don't know exactly what his position was in the year 2000, but I'm assuming he was a delegate for Illinois. Okay, who moved to Compton, California to get involved in a business venture? This wasn't him just opening a little retail store. This was a big business venture where he would be dealing with refineries. It was George H.W. Bush, also known as George Bush Sr. Yeah. He did that in the late 1940s. Who shook hands, who was a young teenager, with John F. Kennedy, and then he later got elected President of the United States? President Bill Clinton. Yeah. Which President of the United States, where his middle initial is actually not a middle name? Harry S. Truman. It's true. Which President of the United States got narrowly defeated for the vice presidential vote to become Vice President of the United States, but he later got elected President of the United States? Robert F. Kennedy. Because, see, this happened in 1956 when Stevenson ran again and tried to outshine and unseat Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Adlai Stevenson didn't stand a chance again. He got beat even worse. He did. Oh, boy. Boy. Poor guy. Okay, let's get away from politics. Who was a man who was born in Mexico, and he was nothing but a poor as far as income, even though he was good at doing it, dishwasher for a restaurant, but in real life he later turned out to be a very famous guitarist? Carlos Santana. Yep. What was one of the most famous rock, hard rock and really good playing guitarists who attended a high school named Garfield? I'm not going to tell you what part of the United States. 3 more seconds. 1 more second. JIMI Hendrix. Yep. But back then he went by James Marshall Hendrix. It was Garfield High School in Seattle, Washington. What famous folk and pop guitarist originally had the last name of Duschendorf? Okay, I'm looking at my watch. I'll give you 5 more seconds. His first name started with the letter J. John Denver. His original name was Henry John Duschendorf Jr. or Henry Duschendorf Jr. Yeah, the John might not have actually been his middle name. I'll have to double check that. What musician had the middle name of Donald, and a few years after he became famous, he died tragically and suddenly? Kurt Cobain. Yep. Okay, a lot of you know this, but a lot of you don't. What was Linda Ronstadt's boyfriend, who was a very famous political figure? It was Governor Jerry Brown, also known as Edmund Brown Jr. Yep. I think it's Edmund Gerald Brown, come to think of it. I have to double check that one though. I might not be right. Okay, this is the last stuff about trivia. Who walked past TODD Bridges and Gary Coleman in I believe it was back in 1989, and he didn't even know it? Me. I did it. Matt of Post April 6th YouTube channel. Me. I did it. Yep. What happened was, and I'm pretty sure this was either in the latter part of '88 or early 1989. I was only 15 at the time. I walked past the guy and I kind of glanced at him and I said, "Huh, that looks like TODD Bridges." And then I go over to my friend, who's working at the mall. It was one of the cookie places. I think it was Miss Fields. And he pointed out to me that they were there, and it was Gary Coleman. And I thought about going over and talking to him. I thought, nah, I don't want to do that. Even though I'd like to, I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable. I could get too excited. Nah, I don't want to do that. And I didn't. He just wandered around a little bit, and I think he was wearing a dark blue suit. At least that's what I remember. I'm talking about Gary Coleman. The way TODD Bridges was dressed, I just don't remember, because all I saw was his face. I honestly just don't remember. In fact, here's my kitty. Hey, sweetie. You're on YouTube. Yeah. You're on YouTube. There you go. Then get back down. Yeah, I love her. I had to show her some affection. Okay, let's see. What else can I discuss here? And I've discussed a lot about South Glen Mall, because South Glen Mall is where I saw Gary Coleman and TODD Bridges, if I didn't make that clear before. Hold on. You know who that is? And that ain't recent. That it actually is Bill Gibbons of ZZTOP before he grew a beard. See, look. He was young back then. He's really jamming away with a Les Paul guitar. That was either a Les Paul Custom or a Les Paul Standard. Well, I don't have anything else to talk about. I wished I did, but I'm just, I just been involved in so many different things. I'm a little scatterbrained. But I really appreciate all my YouTube subscribers. I just got a new one today. And it's really good to have over 350, or no, yeah, 350 videos, and one of them, it's a movie trailer that I downloaded probably at least 8 months ago by now, and it's only gotten like 4 or 5 hits. I'm gonna take it away. Nobody's interested. Nobody cares. It's a B movie that may have had some popularity for a week or two when it came out, but even then it wasn't like super popular. I mean, you didn't make hundreds of millions of dollars on it. You made tens of thousands of dollars, if that, or at least $100,000. I think it's called XM Mission or XM something. Yeah. Well, it's time to go now. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye.